All right, hello. Oh, the camera's all messed up, isn't it? Let me see if I can fix that. All right, there we are. What's up, everybody? Yes, Zoltan, Google CEO Sundar. I did an interview with him. It was published yesterday. You should check it out. It was pretty fun. We'll talk about that a little bit today. Kind of my experience leading up to that, them reaching out to me. It was a lot of fun. All right. Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. I'll just show you, just in case you missed it. Cool. Yeah, so here it is. This was my interview with Sundar Pachai. I'm going to turn off the volume for now. This was on stage at Google I/O. This was, let's see, Tuesday, 2 days ago. Look for a second. You see how I did this a number of times where I reached behind me. I swear there was a spider crawling on me or I was hallucinating. I did that multiple times during the interview. But anyways, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And we'll do a debrief of it later. But there's something I want to talk about first. Yeah, let me know if everybody's from Pakistan. What's up? Yeah, okay. So the first thing I want to talk about today is how the new cursor model is just quietly possibly the best model, the best coding model on the planet. Have y'all seen this yet? Oh, Bakersfield. Bakersfield. Yeah, that's pretty close to me. A couple hours away. Actually, no, maybe it's more than that. It's probably closer to Southern California. All right, wait till a few more people get in here. Yeah, Southern California. Cool. Okay, give me a minute. I'll be right back. Okay. All right. So yeah, I want to talk about uh, Hopper 2.5 being the best coding model you better run. No, I'm going to put together a strong argument for 2.5, Composer 2.5 being the best, not the highest intelligence, but the best, the overall best model there is. Um, and there's a reason for that. And it's something that I've been talking about for a while. And we're gonna, well, you know what? I'll save it. We're gonna get into all of this. So let me find Composer 2.5. I wrote Cursor 2.5. Great. Yep, sure. I don't even know how to change that. Yeah, there it is. Look at that. Cursor 2.5. Brian, you know if there's a way to change that after the fact? No, this is, oh, right. You could probably change it in YouTube, but not in Twitter. Okay, yeah, you could probably change it in YouTube if you don't mind, but okay. Why Composer is not even on the list? Ella Marina? I don't know. Maybe because they're like not. I think it's only available through Cursor. All right, so I'm going to be recording a video, by the way, and we're going to be talking about Composer 2.5. And so you might hear me do kind of multiple intros, multiple takes. So just be aware and jump in. Oh my God, this image is incredible. Banana Hammock 924. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Jensina, maybe. That's so good. Digital zoom my webcam to be like 10% bigger. Cool. That sounds easy enough. How do I actually do that? Let's see. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I'm recording this separately. Digital zoom. Yeah. Would I do that in maybe? Okay, I see. No, I don't see a way to do that. Perspective? No. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. That's all right. Shows those pores. Okay, well, welcome everybody. Let's talk about Composer 2.5. So Cursor, let's see. So just 3 days ago, Cursor released Composer 2.5, the next iteration of their homegrown coding models, the workhorse model, the model that they're probably all hoping everybody moves to because that's the one that they are having the highest margins on because it's their own model and built for coding. And it turns out it's actually incredibly good at coding, like up there with the frontier models at a fraction of the price. And that's the important part that I want to talk about today. It is the price to performance ratio. And on that measure, Composer 2.5 seems to be the best model on the planet. And that comes almost on the same day, if not the same day, as Google I/O, them releasing Gemini 3.5 Flash, and seemingly many companies focused on what I call the workhorse class of models. Basically at the frontier, and I say basically, but very fast and very inexpensive. The cost per task is going to be very low. And that is the thing that I'm most excited about. So we're going to talk about all of this. So first, let's just go over the announcements. So introducing Cursor 2.5, our most powerful model yet. Or introducing Composer 2.5. I keep saying Cursor, don't I? Oh, hell yeah. Let's Genius Pro 59801 gifted 5 Matthew Berman memberships. Awesome. Thank you so much. That's so cool. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you for doing that. Um, yeah, let me know if you have any questions as we go, by the way. Feel free. Feel free to just jump in, leave your questions. I'll try to answer them as we go along. Um, okay, so a couple interesting things. This is a dot improvement, 2.5, Composer 2.5. So introducing Composer 2.5, our most powerful model yet. This is a dot improvement, meaning it is not a major upgrade, but it really is. And that's what makes it interesting. And if you remember, this series of models, the 2.x models, are based on the Kimi open source family of models, the Chinese open source models. And we're going to talk about that too. There's actually so much to talk about, so much to unpack with this story. So it's more intelligent, better at sustained work on long-running tasks, and more reliable at following complex instructions. For the next week, we're doubling the included usage of the model. Maybe we'll test it out. I have Cursor loaded up in the background, and if you guys want to run some tests, just let me know, but I'll save that for later. I usually find live testing to be a little bit boring, but let me know. So here's where it's important. So we have the average cost per task on the x-axis, and we have the Cursor Bench score on the y-axis. This is Cursor Bench, so that is their own internal benchmark. Composer 2.5 is only available in Cursor. That's very important to note. They are not letting anybody else use this model. Did I say Cursor 2.5 again? Jim Wells is great. Okay. You guys are messing with me now. I know it. What's up, Greg? Good to see you again. Okay, so this is why this model is, I really do think, the best coding model on the planet. Not best in terms of overall intelligence or overall ability to solve the hardest problems, but for the vast majority of coding use cases, this will be your default model. I really do think so. And so here's what we're seeing. This is Opus 4.7 extra high. Now, the x-axis, as I mentioned, let me move this a little bit. The x-axis, I'm going to talk about it here. The x-axis, as I mentioned, is average cost per task on Cursor Bench. The lower, the better. So the more right, the better. The more left, the worse, the more expensive it is. And so obviously Opus 4.7 is probably the most expensive. It is probably also the best, or at least it's very, very comparable, maybe a slight edge to GPT 5.5, what we're seeing right here. But overall, what we're seeing is that this model, the Opus 4.7, very good, but very expensive. Then we have GPT 5.5 Medium, which is interesting. Oh, no, wait. Sorry. Yeah, so the GPT 5.5 family of models, okay, right here, what we're seeing, and nearly as good as Opus 4.7, but a little bit less expensive. Okay, so let's see what we should compare. The absolute frontier at about 65% on Cursor Bench 3.1. Looks like it costs about $11 per task. Zoom all the way over to GPT 5.5, extra high, just above $4 per task. Okay, that is a substantial discount. And I know a lot of people are loving the GPT 5.5 family of models. For that reason, it is very good and has quite a strong ability to solve difficult problems at a great price. Now, swing on over to Composer 2.5. Now, below GPT 5.5 extra high, below Opus 4.7 max, but not by much. Not by much. Probably about 64% on Cursor Bench. But look at that price. This looks to be, I think it's probably about 50 cents. Maybe they're going to give the actual number down below. But the point is, imagine how much more you're going to be able to get done for the budget. I think a lot of people, when they're looking at these benchmarks and when they're looking at the overall score, they just think everybody has unlimited budget. And that is not the case for most individuals, and certainly not the case for most companies. The price per intelligence ratio is incredibly important to a lot of companies. Okay, not everybody is token maxing. It's just not possible. And I've been screaming from the rooftops that the vast majority of use cases do not require the absolute frontier. Now, of course, we're talking about coding right now, and having the best coder is the best. But honestly, even within coding, if you think about it, all of the use cases that you're doing, they probably can be done by one or a few percentage points less than the absolute frontier successfully. And you'd likely be willing to sacrifice a few percentage points from the absolute frontier to get a fraction of the cost. So if this is $11, this is 40 something cents per task. Just crazy savings. And so I'm really hoping more people and more companies are going to lean into and talk about not only using the workhorse models, but using the right mixture of models. There is a place for the absolute frontier, and that's typically when you're doing kind of the hardcore upfront planning. But then the actual delegation and writing of code, that should be going to the composer model. That should be going to the workhorse class of models. Let's keep going. Forward Future Brian, producer, editor. Matt keeps screaming from the rooftops, and the neighbors are calling the police. You know what? It's worth it to get the message out there, Brian. What's the context window, by the way? I think it's sorry, let me leave it up there. What's the context window, by the way? I think it's 200,000, but I will double check. Okay. So here's how they did it. I don't need to let's see. So here's how they did it. We improved Composer by scaling training, generating more complex RL reinforcement learning environments, and introducing new learning methods. For example, we use text feedback during RL to learn faster by assigning credit and rollout spanning hundreds of thousands of tokens. Okay, so just improving the reinforcement learning method. Here's the thing. Cursor probably has the best coding data set on the planet. They were really the first kind of agentic or AI first IDE coding platform well before Claude Code, well before Codex. So they have an immense amount of data, and that is exactly why Elon Musk and the team at SpaceX AI acquired them, or kind of acquired them. We'll get into that later. Okay. Yes. Okay. So Composer 2.5 is built on the same open source base as Composer 2, Moonshot's Kimi K 2.5, which is interesting because it's not even their latest model, right? I think they have 2.7 now. Let me double check. Kimi K 2.6. No, that was Qwen 3.7. Okay. Yeah. So, excuse me. It's not Kimi's latest model, but it's still really, really good. And it's really interesting because the first time that they announced Composer 2.5, they didn't really talk about it being built on Kimi K 2.5. I think it was a footnote, and they got some blowback from that, just not mentioning it. And a bunch of people gave them crap for it. But they were like, well, okay, we disclosed it, and it doesn't really matter because it's open source. We followed all of the terms of service of using it, and we made it so much better and our own, and we didn't even have to bake the foundation model. It's kind of a genius strategy. Hopper, they didn't acquire them, did they? It's just a co-op. We'll get into this. I'll talk. I'll just briefly mention. So there was an agreement to be acquired in the future, and if they didn't want to acquire them, they had a breakup fee, I think, of $10 billion or a usage fee of $10 billion. But we're going to get into that. Okay. So together with SpaceX AI, we're training a significantly larger model from scratch. Okay. So they are making their own model. They get to control all of the data end to end, and they have all the data and using 10x more compute. So with Colossus 2's million H100 equivalents and our combined data and training techniques, we expect this to be a major leap in model capability. The way that they're talking, the acquisition is effectively done, right? This was all kind of a workaround so that SpaceX didn't have to delay their IPO. That's just what it is. It was kind of genius because they didn't have to delay their IPO, and they also baked in an off ramp, and just in case something happened and they did not want to acquire the company anymore, acquire Cursor. Let's see what else they have here. Synthetic data. Okay, so during RL training, Composer's coding ability improves substantially to the point where it begins to get most training problems correct. To continue increasing intelligence, we both select for and create harder tasks dynamically throughout the run. Composer 2.5 is trained with 25 times more synthetic tasks than Composer 2. So that's very interesting. Even though they have a tremendous amount of data, they being Cursor, because everybody uses them, and they're collecting all of this coding data, they're also using a tremendous amount of synthetic data. And that's something Jensen talked about. Even though kind of organic data might be quote unquote running out, there is essentially unlimited amount of synthetic data to use. Interesting. One downstream consequence of large-scale synthetic task creation is that it can cause unexpected reward hacking. As the model became more adept, Composer 2.5 was able to find increasingly sophisticated workarounds to solve the task at hand. In one example, the model found a leftover Python type checking cache and reverse engineered the format to find a deleted function signature. Whoa, okay. In another, it was able to find and decompile Java bytecode. I'm not quite sure what that means. To reconstruct a third-party API. They were able to find and diagnose these problems. Okay. Yeah, wow, they really went into the detail about it. Composer 2.5 is priced at 50 cents per million input and $2.50 per million output tokens, which is pretty much in line with all of the frontier Chinese open source models that we're seeing, right? About like $2 to $4 per million output tokens. So very, very competitive, but it's not just about the number of output tokens, it's what it can actually do with it. And Composer 2.5 is very strong. Okay, let's see what else we want to share. Okay, we have Cursor Bench. Okay, so here's a list of, is this? So this is Cursor Bench, which is percentage completion and how much it costs per task. Opus 4.7 max all the way at the top. Also just by far the most expensive. So yeah, 55 cents as we saw earlier for Composer 2.5. Basically 1.5 percentage points off of the absolute frontier of coding intelligence, but at a 20th of the cost. A 20th of the cost. Crazy. 5.5 high is looking quite good, coming in at 360, but still just the cost per intelligence is insane here. Now, let's go down here. And it makes me sad to show this, but I have to. Gemini 3.5 Flash, the model that was just released by Google, coming in nearly 15 percentage points off of the absolute frontier, and it's also 4 times as expensive as Composer 2.5. So, there's a lot of different benchmarks. I'm not trying to make excuses for Google, but there are a lot of different benchmarks to measure 3.5 Flash. This is just one of them. I think Google got the message. I know Theo kind of dunked on him pretty heavily. But it's not a great showing. Here's Kimi K 2.5 all the way at the bottom, by the way, at 31%. So their kind of fine tuning or their customization efforts on top of Kimi K 2.5 was able to take it to literally double the score for this specific benchmark. Now, maybe it's benchmaxing a bit, but the Cursor Bench is a very kind of specifically built to test coding ability. So hopefully it's really good. And it's interesting, the cost per task actually went down as well. Okay, let's look at artificial analysis. Sorry for the flashbang. Okay. Intelligence. Oof. I'm going to try to turn this back on. Let's see if I can get this going. There we go. Let's see. I don't even think her composer's on here. Yeah, it's not. Okay, let's see if we could just search for composer. Why is it not on here? Check eCam. Are we seeing less than you think? No, I don't think so. Okay, so on Artificial Analysis Coding Agent Index, big jump. Right below, yeah, so it's 63 as compared to GPT 5.5 at 65, and then Opus 4.7, which is 67. The Artificial Analysis Coding Agent Index is an index of multiple benchmarks specific to coding. So composite average, pass at 1, that means 1 go. SWE Bench Pro Hard AA, Terminal Bench V2, SWE Atlas Q&A. Okay, really good, really good. And what we're seeing here similarly, although this graph is structured differently, is it is extremely inexpensive and near the frontier. That's the story today. That is the story. That's the important part of what we're talking about today. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So artificial analysis index. I talked about the model only being available in Cursor. Let's talk about being vindicated. So I'm a massive fan of these workhorse models. It's fun and interesting to talk about the absolute frontier. It's awesome to see Erdos problems being solved by the GPT 5.5 class model, but that's not what the vast majority of the world is going to use. And so I've been talking about speed, I've been talking about price for a while now, and it finally feels like the industry is talking about it as much. And I really appreciate that, because for the average human, for the average enterprise company, they're not going to be paying $30 per million output tokens, which is the price of GPT 5.5 and Opus 4.7. There's no point. They don't need it. The vast majority of use cases can be done by a Flash model, by the smaller models coming out of each of the other companies. Now, if we look at the other kind of closed source labs, OpenAI, Anthropic, XAI, they don't have a strong workhorse model at the moment. I know OpenAI was pretty bullish on it. Sonnet from Anthropic is actually a fantastic model. It was one of my favorite when it came out. And so they do have some semblance, but it's just not their focus. Their focus is on the absolute frontier. And in fact, I asked Sundar about this on stage at Google I/O. I specifically asked him, like, hey, it's great you put out Flash. I know Google's also focused on the frontier, but why does Google seem uniquely focused, especially focused on the workhorse class of model? And I think it makes a lot of sense for Google, right? Because they need to be able to serve their billions of users. So it's, they're not going to be, they being Google, focus a lot on the workhorse class of models because they have to serve so many users, and they have to do so, relatively inexpensively for the business model to work. They can't lose money on searches, for example. And now that AI mode is such a big deal, AI mode is so prominent in Google search, it would just destroy their business if they were losing money on every search. Okay, so we already talked about this, but I do want to talk just a moment more about the comparison to Gemini 3.5 Flash. Now, keep in mind that Composer 2.5 and Gemini 3.5 Flash came out basically at the same time. And I think there were a lot of people let down by Google I/O's announcements. Gemini 3.5 Pro did not come out. They said they needed another month to bake it. Okay, great. Gemini 3.5 Flash seems like a lot of people didn't like it or didn't really appreciate it. So this is BridgeMind. New Cursor Bench results. And so, yeah, this we already reviewed, but the point is Gemini 3.5 Flash, which isn't specifically a coding model. It is a general model. But on Cursor Bench, it is 4 times more expensive and 15 or 14 points off Composer 2.5. Design is, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name there. Google I/O was a mess. Flash is super expensive. I wouldn't say it was a mess. A letdown is probably the word I would use. Yeah, so we're going to talk about Gemini 3.5 Flash a little bit more because, again, Flash is a general model. It is not specific to coding, although they did talk a lot about it in the anti-gravity IDE. They talked about it a lot as related to coding because they were hyping up anti-gravity so much, and it was the main model in anti-gravity. Yeah. Yeah, they kind of put themselves in a position where they were going to be compared as a coding model. So, yeah, it's their own doing. We talked about, it's Kimi K 2.5. Okay. So another thing I asked Sundar on stage at Google I/O was about Chinese open source models. If you have been watching my channel over the last couple of weeks or following me on X, I've been talking about this. I had some worry about the fact that, like, if you're a CEO at a company, if you're a CTO at a company, and you're trying to decide which AI model is going to power my business, like I've been talking about, you're not paying $30 per million output tokens. You're not token maxing. I know everybody in our little bubble, this little San Francisco AI bubble, talks about token maxing. You see Peter Steinberger spending $1 million a month. It's because he can. He can. And I'm not actually saying that in a negative way. I appreciate it. He is doing the experimentation necessary for all the rest of us to learn how to effectively use tokens to do engineering in ways that we didn't think were possible. Like the level at which Peter Steinberger is using coding agents to write and deploy code is astounding. So I take nothing away from him, but the average person and the average company are not spending $1 million a month. They are not spending $30 per million output tokens. I love this. I think you're right. Can you tell me how to say your name, by the way? Design is? All right. I think token maxing is just a word for just use AI and find out what it can do. That is 100% correct. One of the topics I want to talk about today, I hope we get to it, is personal agents. Now, I know maybe a lot of you kind of found out about my channel because I talked about OpenClaw. I spent over 10 billion tokens in the course of like 6 weeks. It's a lot of money. Speaking of Cursor, shout out to Cursor for basically providing all of those tokens. But that's not what the average person is going to do. But this is exactly what I was doing. It's your surname. Okay. So I spent a lot of tokens trying to build out OpenClaw, finding out what it can do. And so I agree. This is exactly what he was doing. And I think that is what token maxing is. But most companies cannot do that. They do not have unlimited budget for this stuff. Okay? So like when you see Gary Tan, did I spell his name wrong? Yeah, Gary Tan. There it is. When you see Gary Tan, president of Y Combinator, talking about token maxing, talking about the incredible things he's doing, Not everybody can do that. Most people can't do that. I'm trying to find a tweet where he talks about this. Yeah, I mean, okay, very interesting. Yeah, so okay, let me just take a brief detour. OpenAI guaranteed capacity. Basically, it's an announcement that OpenAI made 2 days ago. You guarantee that you're going to use a certain amount of capacity, and they will give you probably a discount. And this helps them in a few ways. It allows them to more predictably guarantee revenue, also to be able to acquire compute and not have to raise more money. People hopefully just give them the money up front. But then Aaron Levy, CEO of Box, shout out to Box. We use Box here. They also sponsor our channel. Fantastic product. Also, Aaron is awesome. Token costs will become a dominant topic in enterprise going forward with AI. Could not be more right. Okay, like I've been saying, you cannot token max. You cannot blow your budget in the first day of the month every month. You just can't do it. 99% of enterprise companies won't do that. It's fun for those who can, but you can't. Just got out of dinner with many Fortune 500 enterprise CIOs, and this was the most heated topic. A mix of strategies are being employed, but basically no one feels like they have the right solution. A mix of figuring out how to prioritize workloads to different models, model routing. Okay, I'm a huge proponent of model routing. I made an investment in a company called Not Diamond. They are, I believe, the best model routing company on the planet. Giving out access to better or worse agents by user type. I don't know exactly what that means. Giving out access to better or worse agents by user type. Yeah, I'm not sure what that means. Setting different spend caps by team. Yes, but it's not a function of the team's function. It's a function of what their capabilities are. What is the actual output? And Aaron has been very early in saying this. When everybody was talking about layoffs, AI automating jobs away, Aaron, I interviewed him a few times, and one of the first times I interviewed him, which was maybe almost 2 years ago now, he said, it doesn't really make sense that AI is going to replace everybody because like in my company, if I have a team that's leveraging AI super well, getting a lot of value out of it, doing let me just remove this for a second. Producing a lot of output, why would I take people off that team? Wouldn't I actually invest more, both on the AI side and on the human front? So I didn't agree with that argument to begin with. Having teams justify AI by their use case and some just having unfettered access. Yeah, so there needs to be like an exploration team probably in companies, but even then it's going to be limited on budget. Basil, hello. Oh my God, I wasn't showing. Was I? No, I was showing that. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we talked about, what's up, Joe? Good to see you again. I'm an individual, not a programmer. My spend cap is a $20 subscription. I want to leverage cloud models, but do not want to manage usage credits. Okay. Yeah. I mean, $20 a month is great. I think you could probably, like, if for an individual, $20 a month is good for most people, you're definitely not going to get the absolute cutting edge frontier of what's out there, but you probably don't need it then. Quick ask if you're watching this right now, if you can share the stream, like the stream, subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate that. We have all of one viewer on Twitch. We literally just launched Twitch. We have one viewer there. I don't even know if that's just defaults to at least one, so we might not have any. So, but if you're into Twitch, we're streaming there now, so go check it out. Thank you for everybody who's liking it right now, liking the stream. Really appreciate that. Definitely want to try to get this out and have more people watch it. I love talking about AI, and hopefully it gets other people excited. Brian, we have a Twitch viewer. It always says 1, so I don't know if it just defaults to 1. Yeah, I know. What a legend. Harry Harden. Hello, viewer on Twitch. What's up? Let's all say hi to the singular possible bot, but definite viewer on Twitch. Basil, I remember watching Matt before joining AG2, Autogen back in the day. Good times. Yeah. Oh my God. That was so long ago. Hell yeah. Bruno, is it based on, oh no, we can't say that word. Is it based on GLM? Nope. Kimmy K 2.5. Okay. Let's keep going. So I think, okay, the next thing on this story on Composer 2.5, 3 viewers on Twitch. Is that right? Let's see. Yeah. We got 3 all-time high viewer count on Twitch. Welcome, 3 viewers on Twitch. Welcome. Awesome. Okay. So yeah, the next thing I want to talk about is the whole SpaceX AI and Cursor and powering Anthropic as well with compute. So let's talk about that a little bit. I mentioned, or I kind of had a note to talk about Qwen 3.7, but I don't think it's as relevant to this story anymore. So we'll skip over that. But I want to talk about the Elon Musk deal. Let me find the original. So let's XAI acquires Cursor. Okay. You know what's kind of crazy? This post got less views than the Andrei Karpathy joining Anthropic news. And by the way, right after we finish this live stream, I'm dropping a video all about that. And you might be surprised on my take. Maybe not if you've watched the channel long enough, but I definitely had some thoughts on it. Kostek, first time here on live. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Really like the recent interview with Sundar Pachai about agents' future. It's the obvious workforce of tomorrow. Awesome. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching that. That was a lot of fun. We're going to debrief on that later. So if you have questions about what it was like kind of leading up to that and what was actually like going on stage and doing all that, just let me know. We'll talk about it. Brian, Matt cries in the video. It actually did make me quite sad, but you'll have to watch the video to find out why. Okay. D. Gary, did you talk about Gemini 3.5? I did. I talked about Gemini 3.5 a little bit in this video, but this video is mainly about Composer 2.5. Okay, so now that brings us to this awkward situation with Elon Musk buying Cursor and then also delivering compute to Anthropic. And the reason they're able to do both, and the reason he's able to do and wanting to do both of these, Elon, let me rephrase that. And the reason Elon needed to acquire Cursor and needed to sell compute to Anthropic is because XAI could not bake a frontier level model. For a moment, they were competitive, but that moment quickly faded. And what they were left with is an immense amount of compute that was just sitting idle. And that is very expensive. So they had an enormous amount of compute and they had to do something with it. They did not have a model. And so they did two things. Elon decided to acquire Cursor, which we'll go over right now, and then also decided to sell inference power, to sell compute, I should say, to Anthropic. So let's go over this first. This was the announcement. It was just a few weeks ago. SpaceX AI and Cursor are now excuse me. Bruno, genuinely impressed by all the great interviews. Thank you. Much appreciated. Okay. Let me move this a little bit down just so you can see it. Okay. So SpaceX AI and Cursor AI are now working closely together to create the world's best coding and knowledge work AI. The combination of Cursor's leading product, and I agree, I know a lot of people are on Claude Code, on Codex. I still prefer Cursor. And distribution to expert software engineers with SpaceX's million H100 equivalent Colossus training supercomputer will allow us to build the world's most useful models. Cursor has also given SpaceX the right to acquire Cursor later this year for $60 billion or pay $10 billion for our work together. This last sentence is everything. It's kind of a ruse. They really never planned on not acquiring Cursor. Cursor has a tremendous amount of very valuable coding data, and SpaceX AI has a tremendous amount of compute that is just sitting there. And so these, like peanut butter and jelly, it works perfectly together. But they couldn't outright just acquire them because SpaceX AI was on the verge of an IPO, and if they acquired it, it would most likely have delayed the IPO, and they did not want to do that, especially because Elon and Sam were going at it in court, and OpenAI, that's Sam Altman, and OpenAI is about to IPO as well. What's up, Mark? Good to see you. Okay. Now, it puts them in kind of a weird... Now, it puts Elon in a pretty precarious situation. It's actually really good for him because now he is just making money hand over fist, selling compute, selling all of this excess capacity that he had. And at the same time, he gets to acquire a company that will likely put him on the frontier of coding AI. But the weird thing is, he is also helping train and serve his competitor, Anthropic. Okay, so that's when, let's see if I can find the right tree. So Anthropic, XAI. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, so this is the new one. Here we go. So right around the same time, SpaceX AI announced they will provide Anthropic with access to Colossus one of the world's largest and fastest deployed AI supercomputers to provide additional capacity for Claude. Now, we all know Anthropic was suffering from its own success and being crushed under the demand for its own models, doing wonky things like cutting quota to developers, being unclear with the terms of service, cutting off usage to OpenCloud, basically pissing off a lot of people, including myself. I'm convinced this is not an image of Colossus 1, but instead just a stock image. That would be so funny. It probably is an actual image, though. It doesn't have that gloss of a stock image. Okay. Okay, let's keep going. I'm just Brian, I'm just out here lying. You do your thing. Do what you think is right. Um okay. Quick Twitch viewership check. We are down to 2. We just lost 33% of our viewership on Twitch. Andreas, synth idea. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so this is kind of a weird position. So they acquired Cursor. They're using some of their compute, them being SpaceX AI, to train the next generation of Cursor model, the next generation composer model. Give me 1 second. Just check my timing. Okay, we got plenty of time today. All right. Right, so they're serving inference for, they have, they're helping provide compute for the training of the next generation of Cursor model. They're also acquiring Cursor, and then they're also providing compute for Anthropic, which is a direct competitor. And of course, Anthropic is known for their coding models, is known for the coding use case. That's what they're best at. That's where they have focused almost their entire company on. So they're in a weird position. Now we have Elon Musk, as of this was today, promoting Composer 2.5, because of course he would, right? I mean, that's now, quote unquote, his model. So of course he's going to promote it. Here's another one. Amazing price for performance. Okay, so Elon Musk sitting there promoting it. And then just a day ago, actually, let me go back to one other thing I wanted to share. Now, during the whole announcement that SpaceX AI was going to provide compute to Anthropic, Elon Musk had to do a lot of level setting, to put it kindly. I was okay leasing Colossus 1 to Anthropic. He explicitly says, and he kind of made the point of, they're not getting the latest. They're not getting our biggest data center. They get Colossus 1, not Colossus 2, as SpaceX AI had already moved training to Colossus 2. Okay, so don't worry. SpaceX AI is still baking. We have new models coming, and they're going to be on the bigger cluster. And of course, bigger, better, right? So, we're kind of giving Anthropic our leftovers. Turns out that wasn't true. Let me find the next tweet. XAI. Let's see. Anthropic. Okay. So Deirdre Bosa, I think she's from CNBC, excuse me, anchor and reporter from CNBC. Anthropic is paying $1.25 billion per month through May 2029 for compute on xAI's Colossus data centers. That's as much as $45 billion to a direct model layer competitor. Okay, that is the state of compute right now. There is no such thing as competition because they are so desperate to get their hands on supply, compute supply, that they're willing to pay anybody. And so you have XAI with a ton of additional capacity, leftover capacity, and they have Anthropic with too much demand. They get together. All right. But what's interesting, respect to access to compute capacity across Colossus and Colossus 2. So they are serving Anthropic models from Colossus 2. They are giving compute to Anthropic from the Colossus 2 compute cluster. Very interesting. Very interesting. Let's see if we can find anything else on this. Okay, so I think that's it on that one. Yeah, so they're using Colossus 2. So again, it's like kind of just a weird position to be in. And then they are, oh yeah, the last thing. There was a report that SpaceX AI is definitely going to be buying Cursor within 30 days of their IPO. Okay, so here's a Bloomberg article. Sorry for the flashbang. And let's see if I actually get through. Here we go. Okay, so SpaceX is planning to buy startup Cursor 30 days after IPO. Why wouldn't they? It is such a good acquisition for the SpaceX AI team, for Elon Musk, because they get the model, they get the team to build the model. Obviously, Cursor has proven it can build frontier class coding models that are price effective, cost effective, I should say. Okay, so SpaceX expects to proceed with its acquisition of Cursor 30 days after the company begins trading publicly. I think we all knew this. The whole breakup fee thing, that was just to avoid delaying the IPO. Yeah, Greg, agreed. No brainer at this point. Mark, how are they making money? Who? How is who making money? Okay. I don't think a lot of you are going to like what I'm going to say next, but I'm going to say it anyways. I think actually Elon is in a really good position to win everything. And there's, I think it was Peter Thiel. There's kind of a famous quote from him, which is, never bet against Elon. And so now Elon invested so heavily, so aggressively. This is kind of what he's known for, being the most willing to take absurd risk. And that is what he did by building out Colossus 1 and Colossus 2, raising a ton of money, building out these data centers before he even had before he even had models good enough to serve from them. But then he did it. He basically said, look, we have all of this excess capacity. Let me just buy Cursor. Let me just buy a great team, a great data set, a great model creation, a great model company. Then let me also just serve a bunch of my competitor models with Anthropic. How is Anthropic making money? Well, I mean, they sell tokens. They're in the token business. I think it's even rumored that they're going to be profitable this month. Maybe I might be misquoting that. Okay. And so, yeah, look, the coding use case is the main use case right now for artificial intelligence. It is the one that is printing money, right? We have Anthropic at, I think, $40 billion ARR. We have OpenAI at 30-something billion dollars ARR. And the vast majority of that revenue is coding. Those are coding tokens. And so from coding tokens, you expand out and you get into other knowledge work use cases. But it all starts with coding. Anything that can be done on the computer can be represented with software. And if it can be represented with software, it can be built by AI coding agents. So let's talk about it. Elon has, I kind of want to draw something, but I don't have my Remarkable close by. I'm going to go grab it. Let's see if I can remember where it is. I'm going to go grab it. Give me one moment. All right. ZeroBot, welcome back. Super congrats on the interview. Also neat to see we have the same chair. Cool. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. Okay. Let me try to get this set up because this is something I want to draw right now. Because we have to talk about all the different pieces that Elon has. Because I really do believe he is now possibly in the best position to win, although the momentum is certainly in Anthropic and OpenAI's favor in the moment. But he does have all the ingredients. Okay. Okay. Let's see. All right. Please get ready. It's going to go white screen in 3, 2, 1. All right. So let's talk about all the things that Elon has that might actually make him win. Okay. Let me share this. All right. So Elon will win. Let's talk about what he has. Number one, he has compute. And he has some of the most compute on the planet, some of the most H100s on the planet. And he's able to spin up new compute clusters faster than anybody else. Okay? More, better, faster. Okay, so that's number one. He also has energy. Oh, I need to learn how to spell. Now, I know Tesla is not a part of SpaceX AI yet, but I would be willing to bet there's going to be effectively an Elon company, which includes Neuralink, SpaceX, Optimus, all of the companies that Elon is a part of will all get rolled into a single vehicle, a single public entity that you can invest in. Okay, so he has energy through Tesla. Now, the thing he was missing were the frontier models. Now, he doesn't quite have that yet, but he is well on the way with the Cursor acquisition. Okay, and so we have Cursor. I spelled that wrong. I'll just say Cursor. He has, XAI's training its own model as well. So he has both of those. He now also has, through the Cursor acquisition, he has the talent. Okay, so that's also through the Cursor acquisition, just incredible talent. He has the talent to build out data centers already. He has the talent for the energy infrastructure. And now he has the talent for the models. Greg, the biggest risk of SpaceX AI is key man risk. I plan on buying SpaceX AI stock and have tried buying via secondary for a while, but I'm really concerned about what the plan is if Elon dies. Yeah, agreed. Look, he has a lot of smart people, but he is a unique driving force that is not really possible to replicate. So that is fair. Michael, late to the show, late, but you're here. Welcome. Okay. So he has all of these things, and then inevitably he's like way ahead on this. What does he have? Let's see. You're going to see my horrible drawing skills now. He has space data centers. Right? Yeah, this this is so bad. There you go. He has space data centers. Not yet, but he's probably the only person on Earth who has all the right ingredients to go accomplish it the fastest. Looks like a robot holding 2 waffles. Yeah. So yeah, he really does have everything. The only thing that he does not have, oh my God, I can't write. So when you type enough, you basically forget how to write. He doesn't have momentum. Okay? He doesn't have the momentum. And when I say momentum, I specifically mean, when you look at Anthropic, when you look at OpenAI, they have coding models in the wild right now being used by thousands, maybe millions of companies, collecting all of that data. They have their current generation of model helping train their next generation of model, helping research their next generation of model. And that is the thing that Elon doesn't have right now. But again, don't bet against him. Okay. All right. So that's our first story. And the main takeaway, we went on a huge sidetrack, but the main takeaway is Cursor produced an incredible workhorse class model with Composer 2.5. And I really think a lot of companies are going to start waking up, and I mean, model development companies, AI research labs, they're going to start waking up to how important these workhorse class models are, because the vast majority of the world is not going to be paying $30 per million output tokens for Opus 4.7 or whatever the absolute frontier is. And not only that, they don't need it. So go try out go try out Composer 2.5 right now. Okay. I'm going to stop my recording. Start it again. Click. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And by the way, that's just me syncing up. I use OBS, a little behind the scenes. I use OBS for recording. So I record one through this camera, and then I also record my screen separately in a separate OBS instance. So I'm syncing up the audio and the two recordings as well. Personal agents time. Yeah, I didn't have a strong plan for talking about this, but I kind of went on a rant this morning with my team. So I kind of did want to talk about it. Coming from the person who was so excited about OpenClaw, has been talking about and being such a big proponent of agents for a while now, it might come as a surprise, but I have not seen personal agents, not company agents, not kind of automations for enterprise, but personal agents. I have not seen the vision. I have not seen something work confidently enough, securely enough to actually believe we're at a point in time where my mom might use a personal assistant agent. You can record the screen with Exceldros Source Record. I've tried a bunch of different variations. I just spin up 2 OBS instances and it seems to work just fine. It's a little bit compute heavy or compute intensive because I'm not like right in this moment, I'm using Ecamm for the live stream. And then I have 2 separate OBS instances running. I also have about a dozen other applications running at the same time, but it seems to be working just fine. So let's see. I'm looking for my use cases video, which went really viral. Here it is. So, OpenClaw comes out. I fall in love with it. I use it a ton. I spend billions of tokens building it out, maintaining it, and it's great. And so at the same time, of course, I'm seeing a lot of other creators put out content about OpenClaw, and they talk about how amazing it is. They talk about buying Mac Minis, which I will say never once did I recommend. But they don't actually talk about their use cases. And I actually was getting value from OpenClaw, and I was really using it and really exploring it. And it was awesome. Okay, so these are actual use cases. And this is why I made this video, and it did very well. 3.3 million views on X. And similar, it did very well for the YouTube channel. And the awesome thing is, I had a great time making it. I was really spending so many hours every single day exploring OpenClaw and building things, and these are or were all very real use cases. Okay, so I saw all of these other content creators writing about how OpenClaw is changing their life, making them money, making them younger and more beautiful. And I was like, okay, but what are the use cases? Show me what to do. And nobody was talking about it, so I made this video. And then I made a couple more, and they were all use case videos. Again, very real use cases, very practical use cases. But I'm going to say something, and I have to be honest. Fast forward, a couple months, 2-3 months, and I'm not using OpenClaw nearly as much. I'm kind of not using it much at all. And this might be a surprise to a lot of you watching. And I want to talk about why. And I want to talk about how this is why I've come to the conclusion that, at least from what I can see in the market, a personal AI agent is not ready for the mainstream yet. And I'm going to talk about a little bit why. Yes, more beautiful, Brian. It will make you younger, more attractive, all of the things. SX Northrop. OpenAI bought OpenClaw to kill it. Changed my mind. Hard disagree. Hard disagree. They bought OpenClaw. Or first of all, they didn't even buy OpenClaw. They, I'm going to still use the word acquired, but they basically hired Peter Steinberger, the creator of OpenClaw. And he is still dedicating the vast majority of his time to building out OpenClaw. They left it as an open source project. They built a foundation around it. They're raising money for it, right? So I don't believe they bought OpenClaw to kill it. I don't agree at all. And all of this, what I'm about to say, is with nothing but love for Peter Steinberger, who gets so much hate. It's insane. I don't understand the hate. He put his blood, sweat, and tears into building OpenClaw, changed the entire AI industry more or less overnight, and people just complain that it was fragile when it first came out. It wasn't secure. It's this, it's that. He did it all for free. Now, obviously, he made a tremendous amount of money going to work for OpenAI, but he still puts in more time than most people put in a normal job, just building out this thing that's for free and open source. So absolutely nothing but love and respect for Peter Steinberger. And you know what? Shout out to OpenAI. They are still allowing him to put the vast majority of his time into building out OpenClaw. And he still is doing it. Yeah. Peter has changed the game. Yushiak 23. Peter has changed the game. Couldn't have said it better. He absolutely changed the game. He changed the entire industry. A single person. So yeah, and did it all for free. Did it all for the love of the game. Okay, so I made this video and I was using OpenClaw like crazy. Billions of tokens. At this point, at the point at which I posted this, which was February 17th, I had used 2.5 billion tokens. In the next few weeks, I probably used another 8, 9, 10 billion tokens. Again, shout out to Cursor. They provided nearly all of them. And so I think that's the important part I want to point out. And I know like a lot of people can't get into things like OpenClaw because it does cost a lot of money. It takes a lot of tokens to explore what's possible. It is not plug and play. And we're talking about enterprise right now. And I think the argument I'm trying to make is personal agents are not there. They're not ready for mainstream. And so if an enterprise company can't even afford to build out OpenClaw systems or just kind of agentic systems, and it's super expensive to just explore use cases, they're not going to do it, let alone individuals, let alone my mom, right? She's not going to do it. Okay. Let me think where I want to go with this. All right, so let me tell you the rest of the story of like my OpenClaw usage. I mentioned a few minutes ago, I'm basically like barely using it nowadays. So what inevitably happened, or eventually happened, I should say, what eventually happened was that the build out and the maintenance of OpenClaw became too much of a headache. It was too much to manage. I was spending 95% of my total time invested into building into OpenClaw, just just building it out, just maintaining it. Things would break all the time, right? Because I was constantly building. OpenClaw as a framework, as software, was evolving very quickly, and so my usage of it would break all the time. And then I would also swap in and out of new models. Anthropic stopped allowing me to use Claude models in OpenClaw, so I was switching to GPT. Then I had a bunch of problems there. It was a brittle system, and I was spending just a tremendous amount of time building it out. And it was really painful, and it got to the point where it wasn't worth the time. Now, we have a lot of automations at my company, Forward Future, and we still use them. And once you find that automation, it still does take maintenance. It takes maintenance to make it work on a consistent basis, but like for an individual, it doesn't make sense. And that is why, like, I know Hark. Let me bring that up. So Brett Adcock, kind of really well known for building humanoid robots at Figure AI, just announced that his personal assistant company Hark raised $700 million at a $6 billion valuation. And I'm like, I haven't seen it. I think about that. I think about OpenAI's device that's coming out. I think about Siri. I think about just personal agents. And it's hard for me to imagine a personal agent that works. I think about all of the difficulties that I went through with OpenClaw, and I'm at the absolute frontier. I am technical. I understand how the systems work, but the friction and the rough edges on OpenClaw and the friction and the rough edges on most agents is very difficult to overcome for me. And I think about not only my mom, who there's like no hope that she's going to be using some of these, but I think about even the kind of the majority of my peers, my friends, they're not using it, and it's too difficult for them to use. And so, like, how do we overcome this? Because the failure case of an agent is very substantial and difficult to like polish. And so what are the use cases going to be? For a personal assistant agent, many of the use cases are going to be browsing the web. And it doesn't work. Browsing the web, browser use doesn't work well, right? I've seen some good use cases. I've seen sometimes it works pretty well, but even when it does work well, it's very slow. And so imagine you're out, you have your phone with you, and you want to, I don't know, order something on Amazon. Now you can either spend the 5.5 seconds it takes to go to Amazon, find the thing you want, and click buy with one click purchase, or you can tell your agent to go do it for you. It takes the same amount of time to tell your agent to go do that for you, to go buy something from Amazon, except it takes 10, 20, 30 times as long for the agent to actually go to Amazon and buy the thing. And, half the time, maybe it actually does it successfully. And then you also have to do that final confirmation of purchase before you don't have maybe enough trust in your agent to buy the right thing. Yeah, Basil, what about doing work in the background? Checking up on your CRM, reaching out to leads? 100%. These are the use cases that make sense. These are enterprise use cases. I think my general argument is that even the enterprise use cases are they're a bit brittle. But if you're talking about personal AI, it can't make mistakes. Somebody who is using a personal assistant is not going to take the time to debug when something goes wrong. They are not. There's the trust in the agent can be broken so quickly by one mistake. And so I see Hark, and I want to be optimistic. And if anybody in the world is able to do it, Brett is probably one of them. And so I want to be hopeful. Let's be hopeful. Raise a ton of money, has some great people on the team. I just look at Siri from the biggest company on earth, Apple, and Siri is absolute garbage. And that's me trying to be optimistic. So, anyways, congrats on raising a lot of money. I really hope they do it. Jit just became a member. Thank you. Awesome. Welcome. Welcome to membership. Yeah. Org networks. You have to make sure you're getting the result you want for a bit until you are confident enough with the workflow. This was my workflow when using OpenClaw. I would do things manually. Then I would try to automate parts of it. I would confirm the parts that I was automating worked. Then I would try to automate more. I would try to make it more end-to-end automation. Okay. Yeah, then we have Hermes, which I heard was really good. The guy who runs Hermes or leads the company Hermes is like a marketing master. He's just all over X telling everybody to use it. They're growing like crazy. I haven't used it much. I think I just got kind of soured with spending so much time on something that eventually just didn't work for the majority of things that I wanted it to. Greg, see my Hermes comment above. Let's see. I don't see your other comment, Greg. Maybe if you can repaste it in chat, I'll take a look, Greg. Um, yeah. So like, here we go. I've been running OpenClaw and Hermes in parallel in Slack, but I've found I've been defaulting to Hermes, but I'm considering just building what we use the agents for. Yeah, so like, I'll leave you on screen for a sec. A lot of these automations can just be built. You don't need a framework like Hermes or OpenClaw. I think it's actually incredibly useful to use these because it's kind of a roadmap and how to build it, and you're going to be rebuilding a lot of what they've standardized already. So I actually do think some of these agent frameworks are really powerful for that reason, especially if you're building out a lot of automations. Yeah, so that was it. That was my point. I am hopeful, but also realistic about the potential of personal agents, mainstream personal agents. And when I say mainstream, I mean the kind of, the bell curve of adoption, the middle. This is the guy, by the way. Technium is the co-founder and lead engineer at Hermes Agent, Nous Research. Yeah. I don't know. So what do y'all think? Personal agents ready? I just don't think so. But again, I'm trying to be more optimistic. I think I went in the other direction too hard. I was extremely optimistic and positive about most AI things, and then I realized I can't be optimistic and positive about everything, so I went a little bit in the other direction. I'm trying to just find my bearings. Give it 1 year. Give it 1 year. Okay. All right. The last thing I wanted to do is just, if y'all have any questions about the Sundar interview, I am happy to answer them. It was a lot of fun. Let's see. Yeah. So, happy to answer some questions about this. First of all, it really was an incredible experience. Sundar is the nicest guy. This is actually my second time interviewing him. He is the nicest guy. And maybe I'm being naive in what I'm about to say, and it's just his comms team preparing him really well. But even the first time I interviewed him, where he didn't know who I was, or I had no previous interaction with him. He came up to me and was like, "Hey, great Rubik's Cube experiment." And like, I watched your video, and he like actually had specifics. And so it gave me the sense that he really cared, and he was very thoughtful to talk to. He actually spent the time before the interview, and I'm talking about last year, before the interview and after the interview, talking to me. And he's just like a cool dude. Okay, let's see. Let me know any questions that you have about this interview. Does he have a firm handshake? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And I am a hardcore judger of handshakes. Actually reminds me, is anybody a fan of King of the Hill? That show is like one of my favorite shows of all time. Mike Judge, one of the best writers of all time. There was an episode in which Hank Hill finally got to meet George Bush Sr. I think it was George Bush Sr., maybe Jr., but he went up, gave him a handshake, and he gave him a limp fish handshake. And Hank Hill was emotionally devastated by it. I just was reminded of that. What a phenomenal show, by the way. If you haven't watched King of the Hill, I highly recommend it. The old ones. There's a new season that came out, I think, last year. Just so good. One of my favorite shows of all time. Feel good show. Okay. Demented Gamer. Was there any topic that stuck with you? Okay. I had to be honest now for a second. It was a lot of fun interviewing him. He didn't give raw, direct answers to my questions. You know, I spent so much time preparing the questions, preparing how I was going to ask, making sure that I asked good questions, probing questions without being, like overly aggressive or kind of trying to get a gotcha moment, because that's not what I was trying to do. But I wanted to ask questions that were on my mind that I thought he would be perfect to ask. Was there any topic that stuck with you? Let me think. I think probably I don't know. Let me look through what we talked about. Let me try to remember. Oh, right. Yeah, I think something that's just been on my mind a lot lately is U.S. enterprise companies using Chinese AI models and what that means for the future of the United States, and then building on top of China's AI ecosystem. So I that one stuck with me, although, you know, he didn't give like super direct, strong answers for that. Judgment Day or alignment. Actually, let me end this recording. Judgment Day or alignment. How did you get in contact with Sundar? Well done interview, by the way. Thank you. They contacted me. His comms team just reached out. It was interesting because like two weeks before Google I/O, I hadn't heard anything other than, hey, do you want to come? And I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. I had a great time at Google I/O last year. Like, let me come again. And they didn't ask me to interview anybody. Not a single person there. And I was like, oh, I kind of felt bad. I was like, dang, I really must have flubbed the interview last year. I thought it was cool. But you know, maybe they didn't like me. Maybe they didn't think I did a good job. So I didn't hear anything. No offer to interview anybody. And then it was like 1 week before they reached out and they emailed me and they were like, hey, do you want to interview Sundar on the dialogue stage? And I was like, absolutely, please. And I'll give you like a little bit of behind the scenes now. It was in front of 400 people. And maybe you think I'm good at that kind of thing because I talk in front of a camera all day long. There's nobody in my office. I get to talk in front of a camera lens. There's nobody here. And so I've, even at first, just with the camera and knowing you all were watching, I got very nervous. I've kind of gotten over that over time. But like, I was so nervous. I was so nervous leading up to the event. I didn't sleep for a week. I practiced and I prepped more for this interview than probably most things in my life. Okay? I cannot explain. And huge shout out to Jonah, to Brian, to Alex, to Nick, my team, our team at Forward Future, for helping and prepping and going through role play of the questions. I mean, we role played the interview a number of times, and I am so grateful to the team for like how helpful and awesome they were in helping me come up with the questions, fine tune the questions, practice them. And so yeah, it was great. Didn't sleep. Super nervous, constant anxiety leading up to the day. And then the day of, I get there, Basically didn't sleep the night before. And for some reason, like right before I went out there, all the anxiety just fell away. I just went out, and once you get up there and like, let me show you something. So I'll show you the wide shot. This is the wide shot. Now, what you're not seeing are the 400 people in the audience that were just sitting up there. And I have actually I don't know if I should share this or not. I'll come back to that in a second. Let me think about that. And yeah, so I like all the nerves just kind of fell away, and I walked up there and I felt good, and it was a lot of fun. I think if I were to give myself some critical feedback, I need to do better at being more conversational on stage. Like, I knew my questions, but when I'm up there, I have this little device, which are like my notes. I have the audience in mind. I'm trying to listen to Sundar and what he's saying. There's lights. There's just a lot of things I'm trying to juggle. I have the time, right? There's like a clock, a timer right below the stage. I'm trying to juggle all these things, and I find it difficult to focus on what he's saying in the moment. So I need to get better at that, and I need to get better at pushing for a firmer answer from the interviewee. All right, let's see. By the way, drop questions if you have any about this. Demented Gamer, thank you. So cool, though. Hope you get to keep growing and interacting with these big figures. Thank you. World Warrior, unrelated or kind of previous topic. Do you still use OpenClaw or some simplified automation to pre-screen route incoming sponsorship offers? I do. I still use it. That is one of the automations that has stuck. When emails come in, it labels them depending on what they are, and then it also scores the sponsor. For future Brian, how was my handshake? Yeah, it was quite good. I was gonna make a joke, but it's not worth it. Yeah, good handshake. Michael Chancellor, did he leave right away after the interview? Okay, so on this day, he comes in. There's what you're not seeing here is behind this big wall. There's a kind of a holding area or like a room where we all hanging out. Yeah, he came in like 10 minutes before we went on stage, walked right up to me, started chatting, said he watched in full my interview with TK, the Google Cloud CEO, mentioned multiple moments from it, said he's like, look, obviously I know a lot about Google, but I learned stuff from your video. And it's just like, oh my God, I was flattered, to say the least. Then after we both walked off stage, let me see if I could show that. Oops. I don't know if that's in the video. No, it's not in the video. We both walk off stage afterwards. We go behind into that little holding room, and no, he just chats with me. And he spent probably another like 5 or 8 minutes just chatting. He talked more about his thoughts on open source, about China. Obviously, I can't share that stuff because it was, I guess, off record. But yeah, no, he spent the time, and it was, he's just a cool dude. Demented Gamer, have you thought of asking him what questions he wanted you to ask that other people don't ask him normally? I like that. I would like to do that ahead of time. I don't think he had time to like discuss the questions up front, though. And by the way, for those wondering, I think of all the interviews that I've done with CEOs, I think none of their teams have asked for the questions up front. And I have no problem sending the questions up front. I am not trying to have a gotcha moment. I'm trying to make them look amazing and also get a really informative, entertaining video or entertaining interview out of it. Patrick Johnson's, did they have you put on makeup for that big stage? They did. They did. It was my third time doing makeup ever. The first time was my interview with the AWS CEO, Matt Garman. That was my first time ever doing makeup, which was, I think, about a year ago, year and a half ago. I kind of like it. Not the makeup part, but you're sitting there and they're doing stuff, and I don't know. It's not bad. And so yeah, they definitely did makeup for this one. Another behind the scenes thing. It was extremely hot in this room. They had AC blasting, but it was not doing enough. And so, luckily I didn't start breaking out in sweat because it was super, super hot. I'm trying to see. Yeah, no, I was not too sweaty here, but oh yeah, a little bit of shine. But basically I was like right on the verge of just breaking out in absolute sweat. That must have been so much anxiety. Demented gamer. I can't explain how much anxiety I had, but it's like, and I knew I would. From the moment I accepted the interview, I just had this like sinking feeling in my chest that I was going to have to get up there in front of 400 people. It's not the fact that I was interviewing, one of the top business leaders on the planet or one of the smartest people on the planet. I've kind of gotten used to that now. It was the fact that it was in front of so many people. And it was people that I respect, I look up to, right? It's not just like a normal audience. These are all people that are there because they are huge fans of Google. There were a lot of content creators there in the crowd. So I was like, oh my God, my peers, I got to really perform well. So yeah, it was a tremendous amount of anxiety. Yeah. I'm looking for the footage of you dropping the water bottle right now. Okay. So like super early in this interview, let's see if I can find it. Super early in the interview, I don't know I don't think it's in this video, but this water bottle right here, I go to grab it with my hand, and instead of grabbing it, because I'm a little nervous, I smack it, and it starts to wobble. And luckily, I just go to grab it once more, and I actually do grab it, and otherwise it would have fallen off the table. But then it's not over. I go and I unscrew it. Of course, the bottle cap is like glued on that freaking water bottle, and I unscrew it and I drop the bottle cap on the floor, and I have to like, as I'm balancing this remarkable device, I have the glass water bottle in my hand. I also drop the cap on the floor, and Sundar is like looking into my soul, talking to me, answering the question that I just asked, and I'm having to just balance it all. And I grab the bottle cap off the floor, and luckily it was okay. Sandcastle Kid, nerves fall away when you're doing the right thing and you're confident about it. Well done, Matt. Thank you. I appreciate that. Daniel vs PC. Daniel versus PC. Don't push them if you want them to like you. I'm not trying to optimize for them liking me. It's nice if they do. More than anything, I want them to respect me. I don't need them to like me. I do need them to respect me. And I think pushing them a little bit is a good thing, right? And I think that is what gets them to respect you. And also, it's what makes a good interview. It's what makes an informative interview. Yushiak23, your defending mechanism for your email is impressive, though. Thank you. I think you're referring to the Pliny the Liberator, Pliny the Prompter, trying to hack into my OpenClaw system. Thank you. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on that. That was really cool. Eckhart Tolle quote. from Izzy 2900, 90 to 95% of things we fear never happens, like breaking a leg on stage or whatever. Totally. Yeah, shout out Eckhart Tolle. If you're not familiar with him, go check him out. Yeah, if you're looking to change the way you think, go check out Eckhart Tolle. Yeah, I think the thing, this is so silly. The thing I was most nervous about was passing out on stage from nerves. I'm just going to be honest about it. I like for the days leading up to it, I was like, all right, so what is there? Like maybe a 5% chance that I just pass out on stage and Sundar has to, come revive me somehow. Obviously, like it's an absurd thought, but of course I thought about it. Oh God. You pause on the Illuminati pose. Harry Harden being liked is pointless. Respect is what matters. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, anyways, shout out to Google. They were fantastic to work with on this interview. Shout out to Sundar, one of, if not the nicest CEOs that I've met. Just very thoughtful. Spent the time to come talk to me when he didn't have to, before the interview, after the interview. Yeah, I just really appreciate him. He seems like a really cool dude. Org Networks. This channel would blow up if you pass out on stage. I thought about that too. I thought about that. I talked about it with my wife. I was like, or actually she was like, oh, at least you'd go viral though. I think you either have the pass out gene or you don't. I don't know. I felt pretty nervous and I've gotten dizzy from those nerves in the past on like high anxiety events like this, really specifically going up in front of people. But yeah, I've never actually passed out. Yushiak, totally didn't feel you were that nervous. Thanks. When I finally got out there, I wasn't nervous. Or, a little bit nervous, but like, I couldn't, I couldn't sleep for the week leading up to it. I constantly thought about it 24 hours a day. My team will attest to this. I'm not a preparer. Okay. When like on the live show, when I bring guests on, generally I prepare minimally. And for this, I prepared maximally. I prepared a lot. Harry Harden, they put their pants on the same way you do. This thinking and like, I don't know, it doesn't help me much, but I appreciate it. Greg, it never goes away. Cool. Any last questions? Probably gonna end the stream in a moment. Oh, you have, okay, actually, hold on. Brian, oh God. I have a clip for you to react to on stream. Where are you gonna send it to me, Brian? Hey, speaking of, look at that. Sundar really enjoyed this conversation with Matthew Berman. Let me just go ahead and comment. Let's see. Thanks so much for having me at IO. Was a pleasure to interview you. I'll say chat with you. Yeah, very cool. Sundar's the man. Very, very cool. Okay. Two things I'm going to react to now, actually, before. Oh, okay. Oh man, I'm all over the place. Okay. I want to Patrick Johnson's. I miss not your review and reaction of the new models. I think I miss your reaction and review of the new models. Guess you have been busy. Um, yeah, no, we're still gonna do reviews. I haven't been doing testing, but like, yeah, I literally that's what we did today. In this live stream, we did a review of the Composer 2.5 model. So, um, yeah, thanks, John. Thanks, Patrick. Very cool. Very cool. Uh, yeah, Alex, producer Alex, two goats. Yeah, okay. Like we're peers. Um, okay, very cool. So, okay, so the first thing I want to react to is the intro. Okay, this is the intro to the video. The intro to the video that we created from the Sundar interview. And I'm going to say right up front that I did not provide any direction to Brian. Okay, I know the video's muted. Oh, maybe I need to I might not. I don't think it needs to be unmuted. The music is cool, but I don't think it's necessary to get the point across. So keep in mind, Brian put this together. And remember, this is me interviewing the CEO of one of the most valuable companies on the planet, one of the most important companies on the planet. Okay? Me, Matthew Berman, cool shot. Awesome. There's me again. Right? No clip of Sundar. Just here it go. Still me, 14 seconds in, 16 seconds in, still just me. And then I say, welcome Sundar Pachai. Boom. There's that handshake, by the way. And yeah, so like when I first saw this, I said, Brian, I'm not the main character of this story. It's Sundar. But there was like, it was not a clean way to do it. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I think he made me look so freaking cool with this intro, with this specific part. Right here. That is such a cool edit. I got to watch it again. I went back and forth. I was like, should we leave it? Like, isn't it? It's not about me. It's about him. No, we went with it. So shout out to Brian for putting together that incredible intro. And then, yeah, let me just... Honestly, I thought you were invited to Google's event at the beginning, and I couldn't believe what I saw. What do you mean? Let me know what you mean by that. I'm not sure what you mean. Harry, he's promoting me. It's a win. Yeah. Cool. Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm going to repost Sundar's post. Okay. And then, you guys asked about his handshake. So we caught one on camera in the wild. Let's see it. Are you able? Oh, there it is. I missed it. Boom. There it is. It is a strong handshake. There it is. Are you able to share audio of the next clip or not? Probably. I need to like set it up. Do you have the clip, Brian? I'm not sure what clip you want me to react to. Solid class there. Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I was super proud of myself with is boom, right there where I put my hand on his back and kind of guide him to the other table or to his seat. Boom. Come on. Come sit, Sundar. Come hang out. Yeah, I love that. Google Claw clasp. Org networks, Google Claw clasp, yeah. All right. In Slack. Okay. Got it. Oh my gosh. But okay, hold on. All right, hold on. I don't know. All right, let me see if I can get audio working here first, and then I'll play it because I don't want to ruin the meme. I have no idea, by the way, what I'm about to show him or what I'm about to show you all. Brian just created this.
Great to be here. Thanks for doing it, Matt, and I love your content and I appreciate all of you joining as well.
All right, let me see if I can get the MIDI audio working.
And so that's where I want to start.
Yep, hold on, hold on. Let's see.
Transformed right before our eyes. Agents are being built, they're infiltrating the internet.
Black hole.
Future as agents being the entry point to the
Nope,
internet
that didn't
for
work.
most people. Agents are
Nope, that didn't work.
going to be a fundamental part of how we work because having used them, if you're living, maybe today the people who are on the frontier of how agents work are developers.
Nope,
Right?
it's not looking good. Not looking good for being able to share the audio.
Using these tools
Darn it.
is
I struggle with this. This is quite annoying.
and you were accepting them, etc. But over the last few months, developers are actually doing agentic workflows, right? The developers on the frontier, and they are actually
Okay, so
agents or you saw the demo in anti-gravity for building an
Mac user. Check browser audio first. No, it's all there. It's just the way that you have to create a virtual audio input with Macs to have multiple audio inputs. It really should work. Crank up the volume. It'll come through your mic. Okay, got it. All right, we'll do that then. Okay, so I have not seen this. Brian, I hope you don't screw me here. All right. Okay, audio's up loud. Here we go. Let's watch.
enjoy the ride, and so I think it all depends on the value you deliver, right? I think that's why I think the building the agency and trust with users is a shared journey, and we have to get that part right. Part of the reason in Gemini Spark.
Oh my God. Oh, there's so much to break down in this 22-second video. Ready? Wait. Okay. So this is like 30 seconds into this crazy important interview. I've been prepping for a week for this, and watch me go for this bottle. Okay? Watch me go for the bottle. Watch me, my hand almost knocks it over, and I grab it. Okay? Watch this. I'm going to turn down the audio a little bit. Boom. Boom. Look at that. Look at that. Flop the hand, miss the bottle, but recover. Oh my God. It's so good. Thank you. All right, just one more time. We got to watch that. Boom. You don't understand. This thing would have flopped around, hit the table, which was hard, made a bunch of noise. Nobody seemed to have noticed it either. Someone needs to make the GIF. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Dynamic. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Welcome back, by the way. Clean. Should we just watch that one more time? This is the first time I'm actually seeing it right now. Okay. Okay, here we go. Wait. Boom. Look, you can tell. God, I wish I could highlight my screen right now or draw on my screen. This is out of my hand at this moment. I'm looking. This is the face of somebody. Look at my lip is pursed. I'm thinking it's over. It's over. They're never inviting me back. In like the fraction of a second that this entire thing happened, I'm thinking it is completely over. My career's over. I'm shutting down my YouTube channel. It's all done. And no. Absolute recovery. Boom. Boom. I'm so impressed. Sorry, I'm losing it right now. It's so good. It's so good. Okay, but it doesn't end there. I do mess up, okay? And I'm like, In this moment right now, I have the bottle in my hand and I am celebrating in my head. You don't understand. There are fireworks going off and I'm just like, I'm the man. That's it. It's over. But it's not over. I go to open this water bottle and it's like stuck. It is glued on. Okay. Yeah. Hold on. Org networks. Your DNA was contemplating activating the pass out gene. Absolutely. I would have just walked off stage at that point. Absolutely. Okay. And so I'm working this water bottle, or sorry. I'm working the water bottle. The cap is not coming off. This is the first time I'm opening it. This is not pre-opened. So, it has like the perforated metal clasp on the little bottom piece. And I'm working on it. Nope, can't open it. Look, I struggle. I actually have to switch a grip in this moment. Again, like I'm trying to listen to what Sundar is saying. I'm trying so hard. And I have to switch the grip. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm up here and I can't open the water bottle. Oh, switch the grip. And then, boom, there it goes. Oh no. I'm losing it inside. Boop, there it goes. Okay, so at this moment, it's so funny how this all happened within a few seconds. And I could break down every thought I'm having in this entire sequence in this moment. So my left hand is grabbing the Remarkable on my lap. And this thing is balancing. Okay, I have this right here. Imagine it's like this. It's like a pivot point. It's balancing on my leg. If I bend down, I'm thinking, wow, that cap fell. I have to get it. I can't just not get it and leave it there. And the Remarkable is balancing on my leg. Now, if I go to bend over and I like bend over the wrong way, it also will fall. And that's the end. Also, like, what's the point of living after that? And it's just, okay. So I'm like, okay, I have the bottle in one hand. If you can see my fingers kind of like this, that's because I'm holding the Remarkable pen, bottle, pen in one hand. I have my left hand holding the Remarkable device, and I'm contemplating how am I going to balance all of these things and then reach for that freaking bottle cap that just fell. Okay? Yes, agreed. Thank God it did not roll off the stage, because then like the audience would have to decide, do we help him? Do we hand it to him? Why would we hand it to him? Okay. And then see, I have to reposition it because I'm like, it's going to fall off. And again, this is all going through my mind. I'm looking dead at that water bottle right now. And Sundar is talking. He's talking, and I'm trying to think about what he's saying. And I grab it. And I try to casually go back to listening to what he's saying. Try to not make a face like, oh my God, what's happening? Try not to freak out. Sahil, you could have put it on the table. Yeah, you would think I could have come up with a simple solution like that. You'd be wrong. In my mind, what I was thinking is, how do I balance everything I have in my hand right now, also listening to him? I would have completely blacked out as to what he was saying. Yes, I did. Did you notice Sundar, Alex, is wearing the exact same outfit as the first interview? Yeah. Well, that's. I think a lot of CEOs do that. I think they wear the same outfit. And then I forgot the whole point of this entire sequence of events was to actually get a sip of water. I didn't even need water. I don't know. I just like wanted to do a thing. And then I took a sip of water. And then, come on, get it back on, put it on the table, and I'm free. And if you notice, this was actually a conscious decision as well. I put it So what you're seeing, this little white thing on the table, is I had Google print me out cards for all my notes just in case my Remarkable didn't work. And I was like, okay, I need to put this glass water bottle down on this metal table without making a bunch of noise. Let me place it on the cards. Nice. Boom. And I put it down so gently. Okay. You earned, thank you. You earned that sip. Yeah. So, incredible. Incredible. So that's the story of the water bottle. Why did you put it on the cards? I didn't want to make a bunch of noise. There was 2 reasons. And again, all of this went through my mind in the fraction of the second that you're seeing here. I thought, 1, I didn't want to put the glass bottle on the metal table and make a bunch of noise. Then I also thought there was a higher chance that I would put the glass bottle on the metal table, miss, and it just rolled off or like boinked off the table or something. And I thought for some reason, the additional friction caused by the paper cards would have gripped the bottle more effectively than the metal table would have. All right. Greg, see ya. Thanks for joining again. We're probably going to call it there. I'm glad I got to show this. Brian, thanks for putting together that clip. I'm going to post this on X. This is fantastic. Thanks again to Google. Thanks for everybody for joining. Right after this, we're going to publish a video about my thoughts for Andrej Karpathy joining Anthropic and kind of the general AI industry trends right now. So video is going to be launching. Brian, am I still waiting or are we good to go? Because, yeah, that's going to be dropping in a moment. Oh, it's live. Video link is live in the chat. Go click it. Go check it out. Go like it. Go share it. And thank you so much for joining. And we'll see you on the next stream. Bye.